and welcome back in to Beyond the Music, where we're bringing you a behind-the-scenes look at some of your favorite all-star cheer teams and what this process looks like each season to bring their music to life. Today, we're so excited to welcome in Kevin Toner from Woodlands Elite Generals and Patrick from Cheer Music Pro. It's a big year this season with Generals taking on the Level 6 Senior Large Division. And they've got some mix that's going to be awesome to go along with this routine. Kevin, we'll start with you. What was the reaction? This mix just recently came out. How'd you all feel getting to listen to it for the first time?
I mean, every year it's the last drop to whatever we plan for the season. You know, the music reaction is the thing we're always waiting for. The kids are always waiting for choreography. Then they can't wait to get their dance. But the number one thing they're waiting for that sets, the tone for their season and how excited they're going to be is the music. So when they got their music and we get to play it the first time, we didn't really tell them if there was a theme. Normally we let Patrick just have a lot of free spirit in his music. He knows what we like. He knows we like to go a little hard hitting. He's never not hit a home run with our music. So when we got it, we weren't surprised. We knew exactly what was going to come across. We knew the tempo changes and some good songs, but not ballads and energy building spots. We knew there was going to be some crowd yelling parts that would be easy for people to hear. So we were excited. We got kind of everything that we wanted out of the mix. The excitement was great. We send the lyrics to the kids as soon as we get the music, and that gets their excitement ready for practice. So when we play it the first time, it's a giant party. It's awesome.
Then they're ready to go full out. We
Yes,
love it.
and first full out of the season, we save it for music.
That's great. All right, well, the Level 6 Senior Large Division, this is probably the storyline of the season. Going to be so awesome to see. And of course, Generals is coming back for the first time since 2011. So how did the two of you work together or brainstorm to make this music special for that occasion?
Go ahead, Patrick. You can go first if you want.
Um, well, I actually didn't hear it from Kevin first. I heard a rumor, a little birdie told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's going to be interesting." But and then I'd also heard about some other teams that were joining the division. But I think it's great for the sport. I think it's really great to see these big brands go into, what I think is the most prestigious division, if not the definitely one of the most prestigious divisions. And I think now we have more iconic brands in this division, and it's great. There's no sport without competition. I think I've said that before on another one of these features, and it's all great for the sport to see these heavy hitter teams and the world's best athletes and teams battling it out, from different programs and gyms. So for me, it was exciting. Yeah, I always love doing Generals music. It's one of my favorites to do because I can do a lot of different styles of music, but I feel like if I were coaching, like this is kind of the style of music that I would do. I love the aggressive, hard hitting kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun for me. And I like to be witty and funny, and in the voiceovers, and Kevin gives me a bunch of freedom to kind of do what I want, say what I want, and tell their story. So it's for me it was super exciting. But I think when Kevin actually called and told me, I was like, oh yeah, I already heard this, but
Yeah.
that's how I found out.
I mean, we in the last few years have started doing a creative phone call just to kind of talk about stuff. We'll do a FaceTime kind of like this, and just kind of go over ideas. And normally it just turns into some sort of conversation about the past years or what we're thinking about next year, and it just kind of flows. It doesn't really turn into a theme or any specific idea. And Patrick will just say, "Okay, I like what you said there." He'll pause for a couple of seconds, write something down, and then all of a sudden we have this massive mix. So it's like I wish I could tell you there's this long 6 month path of writing and creating together, but really, ever since we started working with Patrick, we've just said, hey, you're the creative one. You know what we like. This is the thoughts we have. Make it work. and every single time he does. So it's been great.
I think that's a good point too, because you know, um, every mix I do is different, and I approach it differently with every client that I have. And I like to get on calls like Kevin said with him, and I'm just talking to him and asking him questions, and that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. But it doesn't necessarily have to be super specific. He's still inspiring me just by telling me their story and what they're doing and the skills they're working on, and all these different things. So it's really it's really a cool process, how this all happens. And while Kevin may not be like sitting there like telling me the exact words to use, the direction definitely comes from those conversations.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, for this season's mix, the theme kind of felt like the new generation with generals going large. You heard that in one of the stunt songs. That was awesome. So, Patrick, how did you go about brainstorming kind of what the feel of this mix should be like this season?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the feel, we didn't change that at all from year to year. We're still using the same sound kits and things that make General's music sound like General's music, and the same style instruments. And I know what Kevin and his staff likes musically, and what they want their music to sound and feel like. I think from a lyrical standpoint, we really wanted to tell the story of them entering into the next chapter. But obviously, we didn't want to say chapter, so we, came up with Generation Next. This is the next generation of generals, and kind of playing off of the GEN. And you'll hear those kind of things like in the mix. Let's get this large battle started. Is a shot or a shout out to like large senior, and this is World War G instead of World War III, stuff like that. We're just kind of basically kind of chipping away at telling that story that, that generals are now in the large senior division. You made mention to the new generation song, which was one of the concepts. And so I think we're always just trying to find those witty, fun ways to, when we it's one of the raps says, when we do this large march, so that we put that in there. Like, we're just kind of trying to hint and in subtle ways, like find ways to make that a statement. But my goal was like, I saw the video, and I knew how talented generals historically have been. Plus, a lot, I guess they took the athletes from Black Ops and combined them with generals, and that's how we got to the large senior. So I knew those two teams were super talented, and I knew that they were going to come in swinging, and so I wanted the music to match that. I wanted it to match that energy. I wanted him to come in with a confident mix that basically says, "Hey, we're here, and we're here to win this thing." And so that's hopefully what we pulled off.
Awesome. Still Jenny from the block. That's my favorite line every year. All
Oh,
right.
that's a big hit. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
hit.
Okay, so going off that, each of you, do you have a favorite part of the music, favorite section, any favorites?
I would say when it transitioned into the song "A New Generation," it kind of gives you just that, I don't know, the goosebump feeling. I would say if you watch cheerleading, if you're a fan of cheerleading and you watch some of these great teams live, there's always a piece of their music that just translates into you, gives you a little bit of a feeling. That's the part of the music that really gets me going, especially when we're hitting a good section and we're getting to that part. That really hits me hard. And then the GEO, meaning like we're the CEO. That part I thought was just, it's quick, but it's unique. And so I really like those two parts specifically to me.
Yeah, and that's a play off of the voiceover before that says, if war is brutal business, I'm the GEO, because it's
Yeah.
a common phrase you say that, war is brutal business or whatever. So I thought that was kind of funny to say the GEO. My favorite part, I love the the reference to A Few Good Men at the very end when she says, "Do I make myself clear?" And then it like rises up and it pauses, and then it says Crystal.
Crystal.
And then I thought that was really fun. And then I really like everybody in the world going Jenny for the dance. I don't know. I just thought
Yes,
that was really
that's
clever
really
and
I mean,
fun, and
it's
it's
all
very yeah, it's very generals, feel to kind of have that like old school like hip hop vibe, and I thought that was, I mean, that was, I guess, kind of loosely inspired by like everybody in the club going getting tipsy, that song, and it's a popular song that's on the radio, and I was like kind of thinking of like old school vibes, and I was like, oh, we could, everybody in the world going Jenny. So, anyways, those are my favorite parts.
Yeah, the you'll when you see the kids for the first time perform to it, Pat, you'll hear them. They all right as they set out of that pyramid right before dance, they all scream crystal
I
in
love it.
like in a controlled like serious voice.
It's
They all
awesome.
picked that up themselves. They all talked about it themselves, and that's their part. They love it.
And this routine is good, and I can't wait to see it all come
Yeah,
together with the
it's
music
jam
and all
packed.
the elements. Awesome. Okay, Kevin, this is going to be an incredible division this season. Generals is coming in swinging. What do you think is going to be the greatest strength that Generals can bring to the large division this year?
You know, our strength is always tumbling, right? But I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised this season that we're not just great tumblers. Obviously, if I had to pick one thing, our opening section before we stunt first is just jam packed with tumbling. And it's lots of specialty passes, lots of standing fulls, baskets. The beginning, I think, is going to blow people away. But I think not many people are expecting us to stunt as well as we do. And there's one section in the middle of the routine, without giving everything away before people see the routine. It's I haven't seen anybody do it yet in our division. We're still waiting on a couple of teams to watch, but we've put a lot of work and effort into our stunting this year, and I think people will be pleasantly surprised with it.
You both have been doing this for a long time. It's been so awesome to see generals go through all these chapters, like you mentioned, from small and an iconic run, some years in medium, now large. So, both of you, what's it like just to reflect on what the journey's been like and leading us here to large today?
I mean, I could go first.
Yeah.
Leading up, we loved small senior, right? But before we were small senior, we were large senior. And I think so many people in this new generation, I guess, not to be pun, but don't remember us back then. Don't remember that we know how to do it, and we've been in larger divisions. And so for us, it was more excitement for the kids. It's completely different for our gym. All of our younger teams, everyone in our gym has never seen really generals outside of small senior and maybe medium senior if they've been there in the last 10 years. So going into large senior has been a big shift in our gym. It's given a lot of kids in our gym more of a thought in their head. I can make generals. There's a lot more positions. And then from the branding of just the competition arena, being in that division is just something that everybody wants to come and see. So, every time we go to an event, we know what the responsibility is. We understand, and our kids understand how they need to be, and the performance and the aspect of putting Patrick and our choreography together, how important it is. Going from small and medium, that was absolutely phenomenal and what got us here. But going into large kind of caps off everything that we've done in the past to get us into this position. So we're excited as a program.
Yeah, I think it's I might be dating myself, but I believe the first time that I did General's music, they were in large senior. Um
Yes.
and then they made the move down to small. So I've been doing Generals for a long time, and I don't know, it's to me this is always, my job is to give the teams the best mix that I can give them, and hopefully enhance and score and showcase their routine in a way musically that allows them to be successful. I mean, it's exciting for me, for the reason that I gave earlier. I think it's good for the sport, to have more teams in some of these divisions that are really difficult to field teams in. Let's be honest, it's hard to field enough athletes to be in the large senior division or the large co-ed division and be able to be successful. So kudos to them for building their way into that, and and doing that. I think it's exciting because obviously it gets more eyeballs and more awareness and more hype and all that kind of thing. But I think along with that, it it just steps up the game of competition across the board in those divisions. And I support Woodlands and Kevin no matter what. They become good friends of mine, and they're really great people. They do it the right way, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Sweet. Love that full circle moment here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And okay, we've got brand new music ready to go. We've got brand new uniforms. We've got this great routine. Now it's go time. What will the next few weeks look like for Generals as they gear up for their first competition?
Well, we've had our showcase. We got to put our uniforms out there. A lot of stuff went online about our uniforms. It's a little different for us. We're back in black. The music says that. Pat, we're making a T-shirt with that. So that will be great. We don't have a lot of practices left until we get to our first event. We go into Thanksgiving this week, so we'll pile in the week after Thanksgiving, Monday through Thursday. We'll get a bunch of practices and workouts done, but at the same time, making sure that we're staying healthy over these next couple of weeks. That's number one for us, making sure we're not overtraining, making sure that we're keeping the kids focused, and making decisions in the routine that are going to get us through the first half of the season. We look at it as mini seasons, right? You have a season up to showcase, a season up to the first of the year, and then you've got the big competition season. So we're in our first mini season right now. We're preparing for those events specifically, and then we'll make any kind of changes or updates or thoughts that we need going forward. But we're excited, just keeping the kids in the right mindset for the next 2 weeks.
All right. Well, everyone, you can follow along with Generals all season long, both on Varsity TV and FloCheer. Make sure you watch this routine with the sound on. This is a great mix from Cheer Music Pro. But Kevin, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us and giving us an awesome behind-the-scenes look at Generals music this year.
Thank you. We appreciate your time always.
Yeah, thank you.